Ron Sr., when they were born, was this a vision you had?
I'm not LeBron James. I'm not going to tell my kids what they have to do. I just want my kids to.
Ron Harper showed up to the NBA All-Star Weekend, watched his two sons compete, smiled for the cameras, and then casually took a flamethrower to LeBron James in front of everybody. No build-up, no warning, just one clean sentence that said everything. The funniest part? He didn't even flinch after saying it.
I'm not LeBron James. I'm not going to tell my kids what they have to do. I just want my kids to play and enjoy the game and whatever. They can get back out the ball game. We will take it. Once upon a time, I told them whatever opportunity that you have, you should have a chance to play in the NBA.
Do you think Ron Harper was wrong for that? Or was he absolutely right? So here we are. The 2026 NBA All-Star Weekend has come and gone. And out of everything that happened, the dunk contest, the three-point shootout, the actual All-Star game itself, the moment that people are still talking about has nothing to do with any of that. It has everything to do with a 55-year-old former NBA champion standing at a podium and, without even raising his voice, absolutely dismantling LeBron James in the most casual, effortless way imaginable. But before we get into that, let's make sure everyone watching knows exactly who Ron Harper is. Because if you're younger and you don't follow NBA history all that closely, you might not be familiar with the name. And that would be a shame, because Ron Harper's resume is genuinely ridiculous.
Stoudemire at the free throw line, gives it back to Anderson. Ronnie Harper just behind you. And Ronnie Harper takes it away again. Oh, nice move, Harp. Stoudemire. Shake fake, kicks it out. Stoudy with a steal. Looks down the floor. Ronnie Harper inside. Yeah.
Harper was never an all-star during his 15-year NBA playing career. Never made the team, never got that spotlight. And yet, somehow, some way, this man ended his career with 5 consecutive NBA championships. 5. Let that sit for a second. He was the starting point guard on the second Chicago Bulls three-peat from 1996 to 1998.
Chicago looks to take the lead in a very low-scoring first quarter. It's Harper on the run. Harper, a great scorer early in his career with the Cavaliers and the Clippers. That's his first point tonight.
That's the Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan Bulls dynasty. The one everyone talks about. The one Netflix made a whole documentary about. Ron Harper was in the starting lineup for all 3 of those titles. Then he took 1 year off in 1999, came back, and went right back to work. This time with the Los Angeles Lakers under Phil Jackson again, playing alongside Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant for their first 2 championships in 2000 and 2001. The man is a 5-time champion who never once made an All-Star game. That is either the most underrated career in NBA history or the greatest supporting role ever played. Possibly both. Harper also had some serious individual moments too. He had multiple seasons averaging over 20 points per game earlier in his career. He could flat out play. He just happened to spend the back half of his career being surrounded by the greatest basketball players who ever lived, so the individual numbers took a back seat to winning rings. Most people would take that trade every single time. Now, fast forward to 2026, and Ron Harper is back in the spotlight. Not for anything he did on the court, but because of his sons. He has 2 of them currently playing in the NBA right now, and honestly, the Harper family situation is genuinely compelling. The older son, Ron Harper Jr., is currently on the Boston Celtics. He's a bit of a journeyman at this stage. The Celtics are his 3rd team in just 4 years in the league.
Harper gets behind the line, sticks a 3. Huge play. And that's good for his confidence.
He's carving out a living, making it work, staying in the NBA. Nothing wrong with that. Not every player is destined to be a star. Some guys are role players, and role players matter. But then there's Dylan Harper, the younger son, 19 years old. And Dylan Harper is not a role player. Dylan Harper is a problem.
With the 2nd pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Dylan Harper from Rutgers University.
The 19-year-old Dylan Harper out of Rutgers.
The San Antonio Spurs took Dylan Harper with that second selection, and through the first half of his rookie season, he's already averaging 11 points per game at just 19 years old. That's not a bad rookie season. That's a really good rookie season. The kind that suggests the ceiling for this kid is extremely high. He was the second overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft, second only to Cooper Flagg, who everybody agreed was the clear-cut #1 pick. And speaking of the San Antonio Spurs, don't sleep on this team. They currently have the third best record in the entire NBA, sitting just 2 games behind the Oklahoma City Thunder for the top seed in the Western Conference playoffs. They've already beaten the Thunder 3 times this season. 3 times. And keep in mind, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is still dealing with that oblique injury. Nobody quite knows when or if he's going to come back fully healthy after the All-Star break. Meanwhile, the Spurs are sitting right there, fully healthy, fully focused, and looking very dangerous heading into the postseason. This organization has rebuilt itself impressively fast, and Dylan Harper is a big reason people are paying attention. So, the entire Harper family, Ron Jr., and Dylan, all showed up to All-Star Weekend to compete together in the Shooting Stars competition. It's a fun event. It's a charity-type contest. It's supposed to be lighthearted and nostalgic. And it was all of those things, right up until media availability afterward, when things got genuinely hilarious. The boys, specifically Dylan, were not shy about clowning their father. According to Dylan, Ron Harper Sr. set a very specific standard on the layup portion of the competition, and that standard was apparently not a high one. The kids were basically throwing pops under the bus on camera, with Ron Sr. sitting right there nodding along going, "Oh well, he took it with grace. The man won 5 championships. He can survive his kids making fun of his layup at a celebrity shooting competition." But then something shifted. A reporter asked Ron Harper a question. The question was simple enough. When these boys were born, was this the vision? Did you always see them becoming NBA players and following in your footsteps? And Ron Harper looked at that question, thought about it for about half a second, and then detonated a nuclear device directly onto LeBron James's legacy. "I'm not LeBron James. I'm not going to tell my kids what they have to do. I just wanted my kids to play." Sir, what did you just say? He just said it. Clean, unbothered, no anger, no dramatic pause, no long wind-up. He just said it like it was the most obvious thing in the world, because apparently to Ron Harper, it is. You let your kids figure out their own lives. You don't script their futures. You don't engineer their path to maximize your own legacy. You let them play. Now look at Dylan's reaction after his father said that, because Dylan Harper did not try to hide anything. The smile on that kid's face said everything that needed to be said without a single word. The entire room knew exactly who Ron Harper was talking about and exactly what he was referring to. Nobody needed a translator. Because here's the thing, LeBron James has made no secret about what he wanted with Bronny. None. He was extremely public and extremely vocal about his desire to play in the NBA with his son. He talked about it constantly. He manifested it out loud on every platform available to him. And then, when the time came, he made it happen. Except the way it happened is where things get a little uncomfortable to look at directly. Bronny James was, by most scouting reports at the time, somewhere around the 100th best prospect in his draft class. The Los Angeles Lakers took him with the 55th pick overall. And if you want to have an honest conversation about why that happened, you have to acknowledge that LeBron James was on that team and had considerable influence over the organization's decisions. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's just a reasonable reading of the situation, given everything that was publicly known at the time. And since then, Bronny James has played 56 games across 2 NBA seasons. He's averaging 2.2 points per game on 35% shooting from the field. 35%. That's not a slump. That's not a rough patch. That's a 2-year sample size that tells a very consistent story. Now, to be fair to Bronny, none of this is entirely his fault. He was placed into an impossible situation. He was put on a team not because the front office identified him as someone who could help them win, but because his father wanted him there. That's a brutal position to put any young player in, let alone one who was already facing questions about whether he truly deserved to be in the league at all. The pressure on that kid is enormous, and he didn't exactly ask for most of it. But the person who has been loudest about celebrating all of this, the historic father-son duo, the milestone of playing together in the NBA, is LeBron James. And he's been very clear that in his own personal rankings, this is at the top. It's probably when it comes to basketball, it's the greatest accomplishment that I've ever had. Done it all as an individual. But there's no greater accomplishment that would overtake me being on the same floor as my son. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened. The greatest thing that's ever happened. The man has 4 NBA championships, 4 MVP awards, 2 Olympic gold medals, and a career that will be debated until the end of time. And his single greatest accomplishment is being on the same floor as a player averaging 2.2 points per game on 35% shooting. That's a remarkable sentence to type. Again, to LeBron, this is probably genuine. He probably means it. He loves his son. That part is real. But the way this whole situation was constructed, engineered, and celebrated by LeBron himself is a little hard to ignore when you put it next to Ron Harper's response at that podium. The contrast is not subtle. One man forced his son into the NBA through whatever organizational leverage he could pull and has been throwing himself a parade about it ever since. Another man raised 2 sons who both independently earned their way into the league, one as a journeyman contributing role player, one as a potential franchise cornerstone, and when asked about it, just shrugged and said he let them play. And speaking of LeBron at this All-Star weekend, beyond the Ron Harper quote, he had another notable moment at his own media availability before the game. Someone asked him about his future, specifically whether he plans to play next season. A totally fair, reasonable question, given that he is approaching his mid-40s and has been dropping hints in various directions about potentially retiring. LeBron was not pleased with the question. I mean, I just want to live. I don't know. I have no idea. I just want to live. That's all. He just wants to live. That's it. That's his answer. He just wants to exist. He wants people to stop asking him these terrible, intrusive questions about his basketball future. Now, this would be a lot easier to sympathize with if LeBron hadn't spent the better part of his 22-year career doing everything humanly possible to ensure the spotlight was aimed directly at him at all times. Running up and down the court throwing crowns on his head, showing up to events with actual live GOATs, calling himself the GOAT at every available opportunity, building an entire brand around the premise that he is the greatest player who has ever lived, and making absolutely sure that no one in the building forgets it. I want my damn respect too. That one right there made me the greatest player of all time. I'm the GOAT, bro. Right. So when it's compliments and championships and legacy discussions, he's fully present and extremely interested in talking about himself at length. But the second someone asks a slightly uncomfortable question about his future, suddenly, he just wants to live in peace. Fascinating. The Los Angeles Lakers don't play their first game back after the All-Star break until this upcoming Friday, when they take on Kawhi Leonard and the suddenly very hot Los Angeles Clippers. That game should be interesting on its own, because Kawhi was absolutely cooking at this All-Star weekend. One of the most fun performances of the entire event. But back to Ron Harper for a second, because it's worth appreciating what he did there one more time. He didn't call out LeBron by name in some angry rant. He didn't spend 10 minutes breaking down everything wrong with the Bronny situation. He didn't write a column or record a podcast or go on a radio show and say all the things people have been saying for 2 years. He just answered a question honestly in about 15 words, and the entire room felt it. That's a different kind of disrespect. The quiet kind. The unbothered kind. The kind that suggests he's not angry about it, he just genuinely finds the whole thing a little silly. 5 rings. 2 sons in the NBA on their own merit. And all he had to say was, "I'm not LeBron James." He didn't need to say anything else. Ron Harper said what a lot of people were already thinking. He just said it better than anyone else could have. 5 rings, 2 NBA sons, 0 apologies. Meanwhile, LeBron just wants to live. We'll check back in on that. If you enjoyed this one, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a video.